In this video, we're going to be talking about receiving divine guidance, signs and synchronicities. So we're going to talk through the types of signs and synchronicities that we can sometimes receive and support you to tune into that in your own life. Divine guidance is such a fascinating topic, right? It's mysterious, it's magical, it's miraculous, it's unfathomable. We want to wrap our minds around it, we want to analyze it, and for me it's just something that I really encourage people to open their mind and heart to, and to not get too serious about it and to not overanalyze things, but to really dwell in the awe and wonder of it. And if you can get into that kind of flowing, inspired space, it's amazing how your relationship with source, the unseen, the universe, God, creator, divinity, whatever it is that you name it and call it, and honor in your own belief system, the more that relationship strengthens, and it's a really, really beautiful part of your life, right? You're not just mind and body. You are first and foremost in a magnificent soul here on a beautiful soul odyssey, and divine guidance is very real, and it's a very important part of how you remember that you're loved and supported, that you're connected, and that you're guided on this life journey. So divine guidance might not always be what you expect. So in this video, that's why we're going to talk about receiving this type of guidance and the types of things that might come into your path, to open up your mind to think about it perhaps in a more lateral way than you might have to date. So I'm making this video because we're having conversation in the Daily Positive community at the moment. If you're on my free email subscription, you'll know that this is the conversation we're having at the moment, and providing resources and support for people to tap into this area of their life. So I have been deliberately and consciously following divine guidance to navigate my life and to make decisions and to enhance my life for about 11 years now. And of course, before that, before I was awake to this aspect of life, I was actually receiving guidance, and I was in some instances following it and having beautiful benefits, but I just didn't realize that that's what was happening. So since I woke up to it, I became very passionate about it. I've written several books about following signs from the universe and the results that came from that, and recently I've been sharing with the community via email some awesome examples of the results that I got around career and love and soulmate and abundance and business and friendship and adventure and soul purpose that all came as a result of tuning into divine guidance. And it's really important to say it's not just me, and it's everybody. You're not excluded from this. Everybody has divine guidance in their own life. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the video. So it's a topic I'm very passionate about, and we're going to start by saying, what is divine guidance? First of all, it doesn't matter whether you are what you might call a believer, a non-believer, a person of faith, a person of religion, a person of spirituality, whether you say life is energy scientifically, or whether you believe in God, or whether you believe in Allah, or whether you believe in various deities, or whether you believe in God, creator, whether you call it the universal source or the divine matrix. We honor and respect all of these, and whatever your cherished faith system is, just know that there is an unseen, beautiful, loving, benevolent, and intelligent life force that gives life to you, that gives life to everybody, that gives life to all of creation. And from this unseen, beautiful dimension of life comes forth small and subtle nudges and signs and synchronicities, and sometimes not so small, sometimes large, and sometimes not subtle, sometimes very obvious. And while we want to ask a million questions to analyze it and wrap our logical minds around it, there is an aspect of mystery, of intrigue, of curiosity, of unanswered questions that we could potentially ask questions about forever and never get answers to. But nevertheless, we can't deny this aspect of life and how it peeks into and taps us on the shoulder from time to time with things that we just can't explain and yet resonate so deeply with us. So whatever it is that you believe in beyond the physical dimension, from this comes these kinds of aspects of divine guidance that we're going to talk about. With that said, remember that you are part of that. You are part of the divine creation, the universe, God, deities, whatever it is that you believe in. You are an inherent part of all of that. Whatever created all of life and all other people and the planet and the signs and the synchronicities also created you. So you are an interconnected, interwoven, inseparable part of it. And so the interesting thing is that signs and synchronicities and divine guidance just don't happen outside of you, out there, somewhere in the world. They happen all around you, yes, outside of you, yes, and inside of you, because you are energetically enmeshed and entangled with everything of creation, right? Everything is connected. And so a big part of divine guidance is what comes through you. We'll talk about that in a little moment, and it's very easy to not realize that and to completely miss it and dismiss it. So before we get into that, why would you get signs? We could talk about that for hours. I'm so passionate about the topic. But really, really simply, if you think about this, you're on a soul journey, you're navigating your life. Sometimes it's helpful to get navigational direction in your life to help you understand yourself, understand your life journey, understand situations and other people for your highest good. So if you were to say, would it be useful for me to get guidance for the highest good for myself and others that might help me understand two things? What to move away from, what is not working, what needs healing, what needs changing, sort of like nudges to move, right, to take action. And then pulls toward what might serve better, what might be part of your soul plan and purpose, what might help your healing, what might be beneficial for friendship and connection and love and relationship, what might be expansive for your career, business, money, whatever it might be. So we have this kind of like shifting away from the dissolution, the breakdown of things that are not working, and the pull towards the opening, the portals for expansion into something else. And while those aren't the only reasons we might get divine guidance, they are two pretty obvious ones and probably the easiest ones to see when you have what you feel are signs or synchronicities happening and you want to ask yourself, could this be helping me to understand what does not work for me and what does work for me, what to move away from and what to move toward that might be to my benefit. And so people might say, well, in what areas in terms of what's not working or what is working or what are openings, not just what's going on in the world in terms of your career or relationships. It's obvious to think, oh, I might get signs or synchronicities about the right job for me or about what's not working for me over here in this relationship and making changes. But also signs and synchronicities can come to wake us up to our own selves, our own mindset limitations, our own emotions that we're having that maybe we're not really tuning into and addressing and honoring inside of ourselves. So we can get divine guidance about stuff going on inside of us and about stuff going on in the different areas of our lives, about what isn't working, what might be beneficial for us in terms of pulling us forward. And so there's all this what and why, and we want to also think about when, because since writing my books, I wrote my first book and published it in 2012 about Signs from the Universe, and one question I often get from people when they email me examples of what's going on in their own life and exciting things they're noticing is sometimes people say, I had all these signs and now I've had nothing and I'm not seeing any signs and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And it's like, you're not doing anything wrong. Just live your life. Signs don't come 24/7, right? Signs and synchronicities don't happen all the time. And if they're not happening, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means there's no signs or synchronicities and that's it, right? It's just black and white. You notice them or they're not there, and it's okay if they're not there. And people might think, oh, well, if I'm not getting signs and synchronicities all the time, then there's no evidence that I'm supported and guided. No, you're supported. Your heart is beating. Life deems you that valuable that you're brought forth and your heart is beating and you're always loved and supported. And when signs and synchronicities show up, they are a mysterious, beautiful miracle in our life journey and we are deeply grateful for them. But when they are not there, it doesn't mean that you're abandoned or that you're left alone. In fact, when I'm deep in the middle of a challenge, if I don't notice any signs or synchronicities, I remember that I've been born with the strength to rise in any situation, and perhaps right at this moment I have the answers I need already. I have the resilience I need already, I have the strength I need already, and maybe that's why I'm not noticing any particular guidance or signs showing up. So just a tip if you find yourself in challenges and you're not sure what to do and you wish that you were getting guidance. Next tip before we talk about some types of guidance is another thing I notice people, when they email me, because I talk about signs on my YouTube channel and in my books and my community from time to time, is people saying, I can't figure out, what does it mean? What does it mean? This happened. What does that mean? This synchronicity, but I don't understand. And then we get so in our minds about it, and we overanalyze, and we're trying desperately to find connections and find meaning. And the more we do that, the more we get tangled, and the more we get lost in it, and the more we get into our own muddle, right? My sense is, after consciously and deliberately kind of exploring signs for so long and engaging with them in my life, is that if I'm meant to know more about what a sign means, it will be made clear to me. And if I don't, I just let it go and just carry on and just have a constantly open mind, open heart, light-hearted, playful and curious attitude towards this incredible, mysterious aspect of life. And even when we're really deep in challenges and we feel like life is speaking to us, we feel like the universe is communicating with us, and it may well be, and we don't understand what these synchronicities mean or what these signs are meaning, just stay open and just breathe and relax, release the tension, engage in meditation and calm yourself, and just know that if the universe knows you so well, that if there is a way that it needs to reach you and there's a message that you need to get, you will receive it. Just remain open and calm. And sometimes it's helpful just to get out of your mind a little bit and put your hand on your heart and relax your belly and breathe deeply into your belly and just say, what feels true to me in this moment? Like, I'm noticing these signs, I'm thinking about these opportunities in my life, I'm thinking about these challenges in my life. And if the universe was speaking to me, if God was sending me signs, if spirit was engaging with me, if whatever it is, what might it be asking me to know, to remember, to understand, to consider? And we're about to talk about it in a minute. Your intuition is a huge part of divine guidance system. And so it can come through you as intuition, but if you will get calm and still enough and quiet enough, you'll notice it. So with that said, types of guidance. We can categorize it roughly: inner guidance and outer guidance. So inner guidance is the lesser talked about, I guess, and considered part of it. Outer guidance is more obvious. Signs, things that happen outside of you. Oh, I noticed this recurring word keeps showing up everywhere in conversations. I turn on the radio and I hear it. I was reading a book, I flipped open a magazine. Everywhere I look, I'm seeing the same kind of message or the same kind of topic or the same kind of theme or pattern showing up. Or outward sign, I'm having this challenge in my life and my friend recommended I read this book, and the book is about the very same thing, and my friend didn't even know I was having that problem. Potentially the book is very useful for you, right? And you feel the synchronicity of it. All common ones I've experienced: something's going on in my life, I'm ready for a new opportunity, or there's a change in relationship or a change in job or something like that, and all of a sudden synchronistically something shows up in the vacuum. Something shows up, a new opportunity, a new opening, a new relationship. Something synchronistically occurs at the time. And you know, when we talk about synchronicity, it's like something that seems significantly related, but there's no causal apparent connection. And so it makes you go, oh, really? Can that be coincidence? That I'm thinking about this or dealing with this challenge or wondering about my next steps in life, and all of a sudden this thing shows up that seems directly related from a completely different angle, completely different source or place. And so there's so many different ways that those outward signs can show up, and it can be literally anything. Like, I'm thinking about one time my husband and I were thinking about going to Thailand on sabbatical, and we were talking about it and thinking about it, and we started getting all of these crazy synchronistic signs about Thailand. And one day he was walking to the job that he was doing, and he crossed the road and was walking across the other side of the road on a slightly different route that he would normally take to get to his office, and he looked down and he saw what he thought was a credit card lying on the street, and he bent down to pick it up and he flipped it over. It wasn't a credit card, it was a frequent flyer card for an airline, and it was for Thai Airways. And that might seem like nothing, but at the time, there were so many things like that happening where Thailand was just randomly showing up all the time. we did go. We had the most transformational, amazing time. It was perfect. It was incredible. So endless ways, but just think about this, patterns and themes of things showing up in your life over and over and over and over again. If you see patterns or themes and things you're hearing, seeing, noticing, experiencing, just pay attention and say, oh, I wonder if that is an opportunity, an opening. Is there something for me to learn here? Is there something for me to heal or grow, or what's going on here? Just be curious. Or one-off signs or synchronicities, but they seem very unusual to you. It seems unusual, and maybe it has some connection to something's going on in your life at the time. So it might be you're facing a challenge, or you're thinking about an opportunity, and a sign shows up randomly, and it's random enough that it gets your attention because you think, oh, that's strange. And then you think, hang on a minute. And you see if there's any kind of connection going on with what you're experiencing in your life at that time. So that's outward signs. That's kind of more obvious. The inner guidance is the really big one. People are like, I need a sign. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it about? Well, I need a sign as to whether leave this job or relationship. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. What does your intuition say? Well, my gut's been telling me for ages this isn't right for me. I'm like, well, that is the biggest form of divine guidance you're ever going to get, because where do you think your intuition comes from? Your intuition is not your personality, it's not your mind, it's not your belief system, it's not your thoughts, it's not even your emotions, it's not your body, it's not your ego. It's part of your soul speaking through you, and your soul being part of all that is, all of creation, all of the universe, all of divinity flowing through you. Your intuition is not of you and your mind and body, it is of a sixth sense. It's of a part of you in the unseen speaking through you. And you know, the difference between intuition and feelings is intuition doesn't change its message. Feelings go up and down and all over the show, but intuition is consistent over time. It's subtle, it whispers to you, it doesn't change its message. So we tune into our intuition. We don't need outward signs a lot of the time to know what is good and right for us if we allow ourselves to sit, to be still, to notice the guidance, and to sit with it long enough where we feel confident and trusting in it, where we're ready to make decisions in our life based upon it. So intuition is a big one, also known as inner nudge, inner voice, inner knowing, gut instinct, hunches, that kind of thing. It can also be what we call resonance, okay? So it's like this energetic frequency kind of feeling we get when something isn't right, where we feel like this doesn't feel right to me. I'm making a decision about a job or relationship or lifestyle change, and I'm not sure, and I need a sign, and I'm listening inside. Your body has this ability to give you a sense, a feeling, a resonance. Yes, this resonates, this feels good. No, this is dissonant, this doesn't feel good. So your body has this incredible ability when you tune in to give you a yes or a no. So you want to start playing with getting in touch with, out of your mind, and getting in touch with your body and the sensory experience of a resonance. Yes, that's a sign. Yes, this feels right for me. Or no, this is dissonant. This doesn't feel right to me. Okay, and that can help you in making decisions and navigating your life. That's part of your divine navigation system or guidance system, right? That's as good a sign as any that you're going to get. Then we've got inspirations, ideas that just pop into your mind. You're having a shower and you get this creative idea, or you're facing a problem and all of a sudden you have a brainwave. That's not your thinking mind where you've consciously created an idea. It's a spark that just drops in, right? Inspiration is another way that we get divine guidance. And also our feeling system around passion. What feels expansive to me? What am I passionate about? What lights me up? What makes me happy? Move in that direction. That's divine guidance, right? What doesn't? Move away from, right? That's divine guidance. It's not just what goes on around you. And there's lots of other fun things, like sometimes we can get guidance in dreams, in visions when we're meditating. Some people hear things like clairaudiently. One fun one is you might notice song lyrics playing in your head and you're like, what is that song? I haven't heard that playing anywhere. Why on earth is it going over and over in my mind? And then you look up the lyrics and it may have something to do with what's going on in your life at the time. A challenge or an opportunity or a question mark you've been pondering. Can't tell you how many times that's happened for me, noticing guidance showing up in the form of random songs coming into my head where I haven't been thinking about it, I haven't heard it playing. Just wake up in the morning and there it is, playing over and over in my mind. It's really fascinating. So these are the kinds of things that we can get as guidance. And the main thing to say when we talk about receiving divine guidance and these signs and synchronicities is have fun. Just play with it. We don't need to know black and white answers of what everything means. We're just looking to engage with this mysterious and fun aspect of life and to open ourselves so we're not so lost in our minds and closed down that we miss this magical part of life. Because the tragedy is if we don't pay attention and we're not aware, we miss cues, we miss guidance, or we're so lost in our minds and so busy focusing on what we think we should do or worrying about something or overanalyzing that we dismiss some of the guidance that's coming to us because we're too busy. We say, oh, I had that idea, but I'm too busy right now, I'm focusing on this. Or I had that intuitive feeling, but I dismiss it because I don't trust myself. And so I'm going to look outside of me for answers. So we do these interesting things, right? Where we accidentally don't really give divine guidance an opportunity to be a part of our life. So I hope this has been inspiring for you to maybe reflect in your own life about signs and synchronicities and divine guidance, and at least give you food for thought to ponder that you are supported, you are very much loved, and you are guided in your life. You're not excluded, you're never abandoned, and signs and synchronicities are just a fun part of your life journey, another way that you're supported on this ride called life. Such a pleasure to share this with you. If you'd like to learn more, you are very welcome to come over and join us at thedailypositive.com. If you're here on my social media, make sure that you subscribe so that we can stay in touch with more videos and resources like this to support you with your mind mastery, living consciously and being soul aligned.